Welcome to the partypoker.net European Open 4. The time is now. $504,000 in the prize pool and 72 players who are diamond tipped and carbon cored. Last time, Kevin Webster from Coronation Street or Michael Vell beat out the celebrities to take his place in the main draw. He'll be up against the pros tonight, including a shipping magnate and a London veteran. Who will get tagged first, but don't get tagged out?
I want to raise my game. I want to get through to the final. I want to win it. I want to win the title and of course the money which goes with it.
I think I've upped my game since the last TV events. Certainly won't be as nervous. I've been in it a couple of times. I think I've been unlucky and it's my time. So here we go.
It would mean a hell of a lot for me to win today. It's almost justification of your hobby, if you like, and it would mean a great deal.
Poker's important to me, and I'd like to reflect my hard work in a win in every aspect of my life, whether it's personal, professional, sports, hobbies. I want to be the best that I humanly can be.
It's always nice to have a title on your CV, you know, a big title or whatever, and that would mean the world to me, you know, apart from the money.
I don't know, in 2006 it was Showbiz Darts champion, 2007 it was Game Show Marathon champion, so 2008 I need a title, and I want it to be this one, yeah.
There's 100,000 in chips per player on the table, 600,000 in total, and those chips split up. The yellow's worth 1,000, blue's worth 2, red's worth 5. You must win all the chips to go straight to the semifinals, but Nick, the runner-up going to that turbo round and the second chance.
Yeah, a second chance, which does make a little bit of a difference, means that these players might tighten up when we get three-handed, so we'll keep our eye on that.
And Michael Vell.
Cool.
Famous actor doing his Charlie Chaplin impersonation down there, isn't he?
Raise to 7,000 total. Pass. Pass.
It's kind of like that line from the Hustler. This feels like a church of poker.
Pass.
What are we then?
Cool.
Altar boys.
Exactly.
At best.
Did Vell finally lose patience here?
I think that's exactly what's happened, yeah.
It's just he's seeing everyone else throwing chips around and thinking they must not have anything. I'll play any two as well.
Yeah. Either that or he snuck a peek at the next three cards to come off.
Fabulous timing, isn't it? And
you see, I can't do that, Jesse. Can you do that? Make the old Queen 7 trip up. Tough to do.
6,000.
Now this is difficult stuff for Hancer because Vell is playing this.
Raise to 12,000.
The fact that he's fast played this is a bit tricky, isn't it?
Cool.
Yeah, I like it. It's very deceptive because obviously you would expect someone that's made a 7 to check it, but he may well have Dave confused here.
Well, if Dave was going for a free card, he's not going to get it because Vell's going to fire again.
12,000.
What does Hancer have to think right now?
Well, he has to think he's beat, doesn't he? I mean, there are no real draws that he'd play this way.
Pass.
And every legitimate hand beats a pair of 4s.
It was a pretty solid laydown by Hancer. That was the right one.
Well, he tested him on the flop, didn't he? And called on the flop and then bet the turn. You have to figure him for something better than 4s, I think.
Vell said after last time that he thinks the big boys are probably more scared of him than he is of them. I think he may be right. It's tough playing against the guy you don't know anything about.
It's not easy afterwards, I can assure you.
Blind still 1 and 2,000.
Made a good call.
Early days. Hancer and Craig.
Pass. Pass.
Trigger folds him up.
Pass. Call.
just limping in
Raise to 7,000
from
total.
the button is Kallakis, and this is... Gregory seems to be...
Pass.
It's almost like he's very familiar with Achilleas Kallakis' game, which I think he is.
Call.
Yeah, I mean, there would be some players, Nick, wouldn't there, when you have to be very, very wary of their limps. But Gregory is...
He's obviously decided, it's been like an auto raise, hasn't it? He's obviously decided to put the pressure on every time Kallakis limps.
Kallakis actually has the best hand by a long way here.
But when you limp and the other guy raises, if he continuation
Check.
bets, which he hasn't, which is surprising.
Check.
But you have to hit a hand. That's the problem, because he has the lead. $10,000.
Pass.
Gregory, he's not a man who minds getting his hands dirty to win a pot.
No.
And I mean, it's not the prettiest thing in the world, but it's very effective.
Oh, it's a good demonstration of what you should be doing when you play No Limit Hold'em. You get the lead and you try and keep the lead. It's a game that favours aggression, and it's very, very hard to play from behind.
And it's why Gregory's won so many of these heats. He makes things happen out of... He doesn't sit around and wait for the cards, does he?
Right.
He's making things happen.
I'm going to try and be a little bit more patient. I tend to push a lot, like, you know, like try and get chips really early, and like, which I believe is the way to win tournaments. You know, I try to win tournaments. I don't try to survive. I don't believe that it's any good in surviving. You have to go out and get chips, and like, chips are the main weapon in this game. If you've got chips, you can destroy people.
Welcome back. Plenty of poker to play here. I mean, if you had to kind of characterize Gregory's game, you'd kind of call it blue-collar poker, wouldn't you? It's sort of like, he's like a union man, you know? Hancer in the big blind for 2,000. And Trigger gonna pull it with the king-jack.
Call.
Didn't know what was in there.
If that was
Pass.
intentional, it was quite sublime. I mean, it's a tough thing to do, to pretend you're going to raise.
Raise to 7,000 total.
Dave Gregory's taking no notice at all.
Yeah, the players in front of him are going to have to learn that limping into pots is not
Call.
going to be allowed to happen.
The limper's tax has been done. I don't think Hancer wants to be involved in this pot.
No, he's thinking about making the same plays before, isn't he? But
Pass.
this time he doesn't have a hand at all. Last time he had half a hand.
Call.
Total of 7,000. The raise called in 2 spots. And if the ace comes, Vell will be in good shape.
Well, next best thing. He's got the right ace.
This
Could see some action here, couldn't we? Something for everyone.
20,000. Okay, your verbal is 20. So
he said 20,000. That's a big bet. That's nearly the size of the pot. And this is gonna put both Craig and Gregory to the test.
I don't think it puts Gregory to the test, does it? I think he'll, as before, get his chips in. I don't know what Craig... Oh, he goes all in.
Well, Craig's in front of him. And there's no way that Greg...
Well, now it puts Gregory to the test. This is a tough spot.
Craig, you can see 2%. Although, if Gregory folds, he'll...
63,000.
Craig will become a favorite, I believe.
Yeah, he will.
Gregory...
If you're Gregory, you're most worried about Craig's all in, because it didn't take him long to think about it. And then he moved all in, so it looks strong.
It doesn't look like a king, does it?
It doesn't look like King Jack, no.
It looks like an ace of hearts at the worst, does it? Or
Yeah, at the worst. Or maybe it looks like a set of sixes, or maybe it looks like, you know, Jack 10 of hearts or something, I don't know.
it's 63,000 and Gregory has only invested 7. I mean,
the other side to this, of course, is it's a huge laydown. I mean, it's very tough to lay down top two, especially on a board where people could be fast playing a draw. Maybe he's thinking Michael de Vell has fired out with a bear king, and Simon Craig's moved in with the ace. That would make more sense if the hands were the other way around.
He's not sure, is he? If you're sitting in Gregory's spot right now with his chips at this table with that hand,
it's tough. It's tough, and I'll tell you, one of the reasons it's tough is that he doesn't know the two players that well. He's only been playing with them for 18 hands, so unless he's played with Simon Craig before, he certainly hasn't played with Michael de Vell before. He's got a hand that he knows most of the time will be good, but the betting makes it look weaker.
I think he's passing.
No, I think he'll call.
Boy, he doesn't know what he wants to do.
Sorry about this, chaps.
So you think he's passing? I think he'll call.
I have a big decision.
It's a great hand,
now.
isn't it? What a great hand.
What should be the most important factors that he considers when trying to make this decision?
Well, he needs to think about what kind of hands could they have had pre-flop, and how would they play them.
Pass.
And obviously, the hands that he's worried about are a set of sixes and a flop flush. So he has to ask, would they play them in that way? And he's obviously come to the conclusion that they would. They're more likely to have a hand than not.
And I mean, look at the way the percentages changed. Simon Craig, it looked like a suicidal raise, and he's turned himself from a guy who was drawn nearly dead to the favorite in the hand.
Absolutely.
And he could actually even win this without having to see two more cards if Lavelle passes.
Well, it looks like he's read Michael Vell exactly
He wished
right.
to call.
And
It's
obviously he
40,000
doesn't know
more.
what we know, which is that Dave Gregory's got a huge hand behind him. So he's just trying to isolate and also protect his hand while it's best.
63.
Yeah, you're right, it's 43. Sorry about that, gentlemen.
Michael Lavelle's asked for a count here and what his options are. The fact is, Lavelle has Simon Craig covered by about 20-odd thousand. And
yeah, that shouldn't influence him too much, because obviously 20-odd thousand is not a good place to be. Just what is the call? 43 into 106. So he's getting the right price if he thinks his ace is good as well as the flush. I mean, if he hits his ace, of course. Well, Dave Gregory doesn't know it, but he wants Michael Lavelle to fold because he doesn't want to see these two hands, because that will upset him.
it's been quite a pot, really.
You throw them away.
Fascinating hand.
I've got to learn from this.
Pass.
Got to learn.
It's unbelievable. And does Trigger have any idea what he just perpetrated there?
He must know that Dave Gregory had a big hand, because Dave Gregory wouldn't be messing around, but yeah, you can tell he's reasonably pleased with himself.
Yeah.
Don't drive this car without a license. Simon Craig.
No, I said I thought
What an
he had
amazing pot he's just won.
Dave Gregory is going to do very well not to think about that for a long
Big
time.
hand. Top two, yeah. King queen.
It was a very different decision that Lavelle and Gregory had, because Lavelle's decision really, in a lot of ways, was purely mathematical.
Well, I went out
wasn't
on a
it?
poker million to him.
Yeah, effectively it was.
Moved all in on a draw, and that drew, so didn't want to go out
The
again.
thing that both of them couldn't figure out was the strength of Simon Craig's hand. Whether he had the kind of hand he had, which was effectively a bear king, or you know, some sort of big draw, or whether he did have the sixes or something like that, made monster.
Pass. Pass.
Re-raise.
Michael
Raise to
Lavelle
4,000
will
total.
sort of pat himself on the back. Oh no, I was going to say, getting rewarded with the jacks after folding his
Raise.
draw, but
Okay, raise.
this is kind of the end of him, isn't it?
It's going to be very tough for him.
And,
Pass.
glory days for Hancer. 2 kings in a small blind to re-raise.
He
Draw
may
in
just
total.
elect a call with the
Draw in
jacks, and then
total,
the flop might
84
save him.
Yeah, cool.
Call.
Yeah.
Well, he doesn't know it, but he wants to see some overcards on the flop because it's the only way he's going to stay in this tournament.
Not to the 20 last week. I was racing it. You were talking about that.
That's trouble, I think.
Yeah, there's some things that are tough to nigh impossible
Check.
to escape, and oh, Hancer, so tricky here. Come into my web, he says.
Re-raise.
Raise.
Re-raise.
Raise.
And the 25 on top.
25,000 more, 35 total.
It's pretty good stuff here from Hancer, isn't it?
This is it. This is
Yeah,
it. Make
it's
a
hard
play.
to see Michael
No,
Vell
Lynn.
getting away from this.
All in.
He's been unlucky.
Call.
Just a pair, mate.
Unlucky to have a big pair dominated by another big pair, and
King
unlucky that
kings.
the flop
Yeah.
didn't protect, allow him to get away from it.
Yep.
He needs a miracle now.
What was the extra, Amanda?
I'll tell you.
Yeah, there
Just
are
one
2
second,
jacks
eh?
in the deck. One of them is going to have to pop. Vell all in here, and hard to see how he could have done anything different. His face shows it. Could hook it. Hancer's got him swallowed up.
Just a jack.
It's all riding. 90% plus. I do believe.
No, unlucky Michael
play.
Vell.
Bad luck.
Well done, lad. Thank you.
Yeah, last time the celebrity heat was all Vell. This time, I don't think his placing accurately reflects his performance. It was good stuff.
Well, he's had the nightmare 6-handed of running into a big pair when he's had a big pair, so you can have sympathy for him.
And Hancer sending a message to the table. Last hand for Michael Vell. Pretty much just a cold deck here, Nick.
You don't make a lot of money by folding over pairs in structured, short-handed tournaments.
Money goes in on the flop, and kings up wins it.
I won a couple of hands, which sort of set me up nice. But my cards just didn't go. I didn't do anything particularly wrong in the game. I was just unlucky against what I've come up against. Yeah, it would have been nice to stay in a little bit longer, but that's playing poker with the big boys for you, isn't it?
Yeah, I've lost nearly 2 stone in the last since
Well
Christmas.
done.
One man overboard
Fair
on
play
this
to you.
ship of no fools.
Fair play to you.
5 left for that first seat in
I
the
tried to when I knew I was coming
semi-final.
on this, but I just
And
no willpower, mate.
I know it's early, but Hancer looking like the man to beat.
Yeah, he's played some really nice stuff, some solid stuff, but also a couple of good creative moves.
Raise. 10,000 total. Pass.
Gregory not yet
Pass.
to know what could have been. And I think Simon Craig might
Call.
make a big pot. No, he's just called with the ace-king.
Oh, well, Craig Burgess might make a big pot. Wow, I mean, this goes down as a bit of a cold deck, doesn't it? Five-handed.
This could be somewhere between a 3-way all-in and
Re-raise.
and a very quick heat. I mean,
Action on this table.
Kallakis might decide he likes the 9s, or is it an easy fits? Burgess hasn't decided how much to re-raise yet. The original bet was 7,000.
25,000 more.
And
Oh, he doesn't think too long with the 9.
Pass.
wow, solid stuff by Kallakis.
What does Craig do?
Achilleas, but you can sort of
Players sometimes call in this spot. They shouldn't really, because most of the time the ace-king's going to miss the flop, and then you've just made dead money. Really, you should push here or you should fold.
It's a very tough hand to fold pre-flop.
All
course
in
it
and a
is.
A
call.
very tough hand to fold pre-flop. Ace, king of hearts. It's one of the prettiest hands in Hold'em, but against the Rockets.
Okay,
No extra points for
gentlemen.
prettiness, Jesse, unfortunately.
And Trigger, the only good news for him right now, oh, excuse me, there's no good news for him. Burgess has him covered. This is a huge spot for Craig. And likelihood, 87% of the time, we're about to go four-way. Bit bop. This is still the first level.
I know, amazing.
I did actually, yeah.
The interesting thing is, you know, Kallakis has limped into every pot and he raised into this one. And if he limped in, maybe Craig gets away with it because maybe they don't play such a big pot, but as it is, all sorts of problems. Queen of Hearts would make it interesting.
Craig Burgess is trying his best to pretend like he's not thinking about the Queen of Hearts, but the best of all worlds for Burgess. Craig drawing dead by the turn. And out.
And out, yeah.
Okay, I'm sure you've got
Trigger,
covered.
in his short
69
time
there.
here,
25.
pulled off the most audacious move of the table. Yet to no avail.
45.
Cold deck
Yeah,
at the end.
it's got you covered.
Yeah, running to the aces is pretty horrible. And I don't have too much of a problem with him playing it that way.
Cheers.
Thank you, Amanda.
Man's got to do what a man's got to do, and Trigger right now got to go back to the corral.
I suppose it was a bit of a roller coaster ride, to be honest. But I enjoyed it, and it's just not nice to go out so early. But I don't think I've done anything particularly wrong, so I'm not too disappointed myself.
First level in the books, Nick, and an eventful level it was.
It really was, wasn't it? A lot of fireworks and 2 players down, which is very unusual for the first level.
And nice bet frequency-wise. Achilleas Kallakis on 52%. Well, he has been dealt some premium hands. Welcome back. There's still 4 left here at this partypoker.net European Open 4E.
Well, I like the last move.
Because you're
I
not
thought
like
it was
an
really
ease.
ballsy, mate. It was really ballsy stuff.
All it.
All in. All in.
Did you look?
Yeah.
Oh.
All in under the gun again from
Look at
Kallakis.
Queens.
I see ladies.
Yeah, this time he's getting called.
I'm all in as well.
All in.
Let's
And-
all go all in. No, it's just going to be these two, I
Pass.
think.
And I think Burgess might have called Kallakis, but there's no way.
This would be a good time.
Is there?
It is the 2 shorter stacks, isn't it?
How much is it, Dina, plus?
Don't believe Craig's calling, but
got more
Nick,
than
I mean,
me,
this is the.
I don't know.
This is sort of the
Well, about 80, I think 80.
the result of what happens when you know, you've got the style of Kallakis that he's been employing this last round. You get away
81,000
with a lot of these big moves, but if you get called, you're in trouble.
Yeah, and he is in trouble. And I think Craig Burgess is seriously thinking about this because he has both these players very well covered, and he can see a chance of getting to the heads up. I mean, I can't see him calling it, but he's giving it some thought.
Is it because he recognizes that Gregory actually doesn't need to have a hand as strong as Queens
Correct.
to have made
Yeah,
the move?
absolutely right.
Pass.
We've seen Kallakis
So
move
down
in
to
with
the-
nothing.
Okay.
He does
Odds then,
pass.
please.
Interesting situation, though.
Kallakis is all in. He is trailing. He is not drawing dead, however. He's actually drawing 32% chance of really
69,
taking the
yeah,
heart
I'll
out of
cut
Dave
that.
Gregory.
I had two.
Yeah, well,
good
this is
cards.
decisive for these two. Dave Gregory's got him covered, but only by a little bit, and it will cripple him if he loses it. So he needs these queens to hold up.
You'd happily take a 67% chance any day of the week, but with your life on the line, how do you like it? How do you like it?
Yeah, really nice flop for him. No horrible draws or anything like that.
Kallakis needs to spike the bullet. SOS.
Bring the boat round.
Wrong heart. Achilles taking the walk in fourth. Uncharacteristic of him, Nick.
I'll see you Monday, yeah? I'll see you Monday.
Yeah,
night.
lost a bit of
Yeah.
patience, didn't want to be short-stacked, and
on,
that's what happens when you do that.
What did you have? Jack King.
Great news for Dave
Some
Gregory.
noodles as well.
Burgess showing he's got some onions as well. But Hancer will be feeling good, won't he?
Yeah, he will. I think if he could choose who to play the heads up against, he'd be choosing Burgess, but we'll see.
I'll give you.
There's 3 players left here. Partypoker.com European Open 4.
Pass. Raise. 10,000 more.
All in.
Re-raise. All in.
Well, Hancer re-raising all in with the exact hand he folded a couple raises ago, and Gregory's got an interesting kind of hand.
Do you know what? This match would have been absolutely fantastic to watch without knowing the cards, because they've been putting moves on each other of different types every hand. It's been fantastic. It's a big overbet by Dave Hancer. I can't believe John Gregory's thinking about gambling here.
Right.
I think this is just a bit of Hollywood, because he doesn't want Dave Hancer to do this in the future. Gregory's steadily accumulating chips, playing small pots. And he's slowly moving up that leaderboard. He's got no interest in gambling, I don't think.
Yeah,
It's good act though.
it is, and he'll give it the full. He wants to give it the full rigmarole, I think, because if Hancer does have a hand like exactly what he's got, ace-7, I mean, it's important to make the man sweat, isn't it?
Yeah, he doesn't want... Dave Gregory feels like he's outplaying these players. That's what he feels, and he doesn't want them to be making big overshoves against him to stop him from doing that. So he's going to try and make it seem like he's considering it, so that Dave Hancer doesn't do this too much in the future. That's what I think's going on anyway.
Pass.
Be very careful with that move. You can't start with it very soon.
And those murmurings were not sweet nothings. I think they were something like, you do that again and
I'll tell you.
But you have to have patience. It's like a strategy out there, you know. You sit there and you've got to pick your punches. You've got to make the right move at the right time. You know, you've got to sort of anticipate, like be able to read people, and sort of feel that, you know, that you've got the upper hand at the right time. You know, make the right move at the right time.
maybe it's just wishful thinking as far as Burgess is concerned, but in 4 hands, the blinds will go up to 5 and 10. If his plan is to open the guns at that level, he might pick up 50,000 before they catch on. Or we might be head up by that time.
Yeah. Yeah, they'll be scraping these two off the tarmac at that point.
Yeah, it was a raise of 15,000 more, and Gregory has just called from the big blind. You can see both these guys are ready for action. Hello.
Check.
15.
15,000.
Big open palm check.
Now how's Gregory want to play this monster?
I mean, he's established that he's capable of anything, but I can't imagine there's a right or wrong way to play it.
It's hard to know, isn't it? I mean, yeah, at this point, how can there be an optimal way to play it? It's they're so all over the place.
If it does come at king or 8, though, Hancer's in a bit of trouble.
Oh, if it comes a king, it's huge trouble.
Check.
And this is second bullet stuff.
20,000.
Make it 60.
Raised.
Oh, that was very
60,000.
fast. That surprises me because that usually is a tell of strength. Somebody moves that fast, and I don't know. I mean, we know Dave Hancher doesn't have a hand anyway, so.
40 if you wish to call.
I mean, if you go back to that hand where Hancer called the raise on the river of Gregory and caught him bluffing, we know he's willing to get out there on a limb, Nick. Is there a reason to get out there on a limb here?
This is an altogether more spindly limb, Jesse. The pot is bigger, the stakes are higher if he's wrong, and it's a much thinner call. I mean, here he beats nothing. He doesn't even beat ace high. So he really only beats a draw or a complete bluff. But is he prepared to call the river as well?
Is he prepared to re-raise all in? Is that?
No.
Pass.
I'm just silly.
You've taken it to another level. Well, I think we have to say that Gregory played it right, didn't he? Don't think he could have won any more.
Gregory is playing very well.
Absolutely.
Oh my, look at this. First in chips, take away Dave Gregory. It's not a massive chip lead, but you better believe it makes him feel good. Well, this might be one of those paychecks that Dave Gregory frames rather than cashes.
Absolutely, he's earned it, hasn't he?
Not over yet.
Pass.
18.
Raise to 18,000 total.
He's picked up an ace in the small blind, something like 4 out of 5 of the last rounds, and I mean, Hancer just can't be believing it.
Yeah, well, again, we've seen Hancer play this every way, haven't we? We've had this exact situation so many times, it's strange, but he's called this time.
Yeah,
if no ace comes, Jesse, who's your money on? Oh, this is horrible for Gregory. This is, at this stage, three-handed. This is quite close to a cooler. I mean...
All in.
All in.
Yeah. I'll call.
Call.
There you go.
2 pair.
Yeah.
He's going to be pretty disgusted with this.
Gregory is the chip leader here, but it's nearly unfair. Hancer had been getting Gregory had been getting the best of the cards, just the last couple rounds, and of course the game, and then Hancer.
And if any of you are at home are thinking, well, why did he call so quickly with the ace-8? You've got to watch the whole of this tournament and understand that Hancer's making that move with a really big variety of hands. You know, draws, maybe with queens, maybe with nothing.
Yeah, and what you were saying before the flop was you kind of sensed that Hancer might have been making a move no matter what the flop came, even if he had missed it.
Right, exactly, and you just can't be making these moves and then not cool down when you do have a hand.
It cannot be split anymore. A queen or an 8 for Dave Gregory to take this pot. Anything else, and Hancer doubles up, and he does. And sometimes you can do it all right and get it all wrong.
It's a cruel game, isn't it? It's a fickle mistress, and it just slaps him in the face, I'm afraid. Very unlucky, Dave Gregory.
For Dave Hancer, this could be the redemption he's feeling from giving it his go. Look at that hand. Once the flop came down, you knew instantly, Nick, that the money was all going to go in.
Yeah, the ways these two have been going at it. And what a great example of what No Limit Hold'em's all about. It's not about the cards, it's about how you play the man. And with the history of these two in this tournament, the money was going in.
2 pair on the flop, money went in, and they held for Hancer. $5 and 10 now. I mean, this guaranteed seat for second in the turbo round has definitely got some value, but is it a lost grail?
Raise all in.
Is it a mirage?
Pass.
Gregory seems to think so.
Oh, look at this. He's going to be a very, very bitter man, Dave Gregory.
Well, I mean, Dave's a veteran. He's seen all the wars, and
yeah, that's pretty unfortunate though for the guy in the big blind to have a hand that completely dominates him is pretty unfortunate.
The funny thing about poker, Nick, is that sometimes you come in and don't play your best poker, and
oh well, there's a bit of justice if you take the sort of long run karmic view. I'm sure Craig won't thank me for saying that.
An ace is what Burgess is looking for. to end Dave Gregory's night. This will actually open the game up wide. If again, if Gregory gets the double up, it'll put Burgess back into the saucepan.
Oh.
And, Gregory half expected that on the river.
Poker just got up this morning and decided to be cruel to Dave Gregory, didn't they?
I don't think I've ever seen Dave Gregory play better, Nick.
Oh, he played great.
Good luck, chaps.
And
Thanks,
if you
mate.
want to
I
know
like
a
it.
little bit about how to play No Limit Hold'em, then you could do worse than watch a replay of what he did today.
So, that and a nickel will buy you a sausage.
I felt I was in total control of the table. You know, I played really well. I thought I played really well. You know, I put some big hands down. I made some decisions, made the right decisions. I built my chips right back up from low stack to one of the chip leaders, and then I got, you know, took a bad beat with the ace four, like, you know. I know he's pushing on there. He was pushing all night, like, but it's only a matter of time before I caught him. I mean, I caught him in the hand earlier, but he managed to get away from it. But what can you do? This seems to happen all the time.
Hang on, I lied.
Both of these players
You were
guaranteed on another appearance in this
Yeah,
tournament,
thank you.
but
I just
only
clicked at
one.
the same time. Cheers,
Of
Catherine.
course, straight through to the semifinals. The other will have to get there in the turbo round. And we've seen a lot of Dave Hancer this evening, Nick. He's shown every gear and every move. Burgess, on the other hand, has been a little more within himself, hasn't he?
Yeah, he'll need to show us something else. He'll need to open up his game. But, I mean, this isn't his first time at a poker table. He'll know that it's now heads up and that he needs to play differently. So we're looking to see a little bit more from him, and it should be an interesting encounter. He's behind in chips, but it can change
All the best,
very
mate.
quickly.
Yeah, you do wonder who knows more about the other's game. Looking at the stats, of course, Hancer has been in a lot more pots and he's won a lot more hands.
Yeah, very different tournaments, really. Burgess had those big pairs early on, which got him his chips, and then he's really sat on them in the main. Dave Hancer, on the other hand, as we know, has been involved in a ding-dong battle with Gregory, and very different tournaments to this point, but it's all irrelevant, Jesse. We're heads up.
I was wondering, Nick, if perhaps Hancer would be someone who could have been guilty of celebrating too early. Obviously, for so long he felt like, you know, the object of this exercise was actually just to beat
up
Dave Gregory.
Yeah, he's won the battle, but he hasn't won the war, has he? That's the thing.
But it hasn't panned out like that for the first four hands we've seen heads up. Hancer's just sort of kept the pressure on.
Well, Craig could get into trouble here.
Yeah, the raise is 25,000, 10 plus 25, and Burgess is really considering this. Ace 10's pretty big. Hancer might go all the way.
Oh, I'm sure Dave Hancer would be delighted to get his chips in the middle with Ace 10.
And the longer he takes to make this decision, the longer it becomes too long to make the play.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, so he just calls.
$70,000 pre-flop. That is the golden ticket.
Check.
That is exactly what Burgess wanted.
25.
25,000.
All in.
Raise all in?
It's an interesting size bet on the flop. 25. It was a cheap. Hancer felt like he could find out what he wanted to know cheap enough, didn't he?
I think it's one of those things where if he's got the best
No.
hand,
Pass?
it's enough to get Burgess to fold, I guess. I think a slightly bigger bet is better, but as it happened, saved himself some chips because Burgess was moving all in.
Yeah, and CB, Craig Burgess, check raise on the flop has been his bread and butter move so far. Heads up.
Burgess is playing tight. He needs to loosen up a bit.
I hear what you're saying, Nick. I also wonder if in Hancer's mind he's thinking that the last thing he wants to do is become too much of a swashbuckler here because
Cool.
You know, if
No
he can
raise.
get himself up to 400,000 before Burgess realizes it, it'll be like having a free shot. Well,
20.
20,000.
bad timing. Surely Burgess can't lay this one down.
No.
Cool.
Not for one bet, certainly.
Oh, he's got a very hard stare. He's does not look like a believer right now. That could make him a believer. That's a scary card.
It is a scary card.
Check.
Oh, that surprises me.
20.
20,000.
You know, both these guys have seemed to have kind of lost their way a little bit.
Yeah, they have. They've both gone into themselves, haven't they?
Cool.
I mean, there's 100,000 out there, and both of them are just down the garden path without a shovel. That's a nice card for Burgess.
Yeah, that'll make him feel better. I don't think he's going to get any money out of
Check.
Dave,
Check.
though. Big sign.
How much is in there, Dana, please? Am I allowed to ask you that?
I can spread it for you.
Okay.
I mean, I do feel like, you know, you said we've seen some unbelievable poker played tonight. This hand has just felt
40.
like
40,000?
Random.
like they've both suddenly taken their eye off the ball. I mean, because it's a big pot, Nick, and it doesn't just feel like both players could have won this pot. With the right kind of aggression, both players would have won
You're
this
absolutely
pot
right, yeah.
much earlier
Yeah,
than this.
you're right.
And there was clear reasons for both of them. I mean, on the turn, Hancer had
Pass.
actually a pretty big hand. Yeah, nice big club draw and a straight draw.
Oh, yeah, I think you're right. They've both gone a little bit into check call mode, haven't they? They're both playing a bit defensively, and you can understand that. They are head up for the.
It's
for
a
the
lot of
seat.
pressure. It's
Yeah,
big stakes.
absolutely.
I'm an internet sports trader, which means I'm always competing against other people, basically on the outcome of sporting events. And again, I like the competition. I find that I'm constantly being challenged, and if my wits are smarter than anybody else's, I win. If they're not, I lose. And it's exactly the same as poker. So I think it sort of goes hand in hand with what I do, really.
Look at this chip pie now, Nick.
Yeah,
I think this is Burgess's peak.
Yeah, it is, and he's taking command slowly but surely.
Cool.
Oh, hello.
Trap. And Burgess has not done anything like this tonight.
Oh, this is trouble.
I think he might get on.
All right.
Raise.
He's kept this play in the bag, Burgess, and
40.
40,000 more.
I just wonder.
It's going to be very difficult for Dave Hancer to fold this hand if Burgess does raise.
I'm all in.
All in.
Because it's never been done before?
He hasn't done the play before, but also, I
Go
mean,
on, call.
Call.
yeah, exactly. He's getting short
I
stack
don't
now,
know.
and there's so much money in the pot.
Oh, going into that one.
He has. Burgess set the trap, and it worked a charm, Nick.
Yeah,
first-
massive favourite to win this now, isn't he?
87%. He's got the chip lead. He's got the best hand. And he's really got the best hand. 5 cards to come, though. Boy, it's been a long old slog, this game, and Burgess on the cusp.
Oh my life! What a flop!
Oh, gosh. It don't seem
That's
fair,
a better
does it?
flop
I
than
think he's gone behind.
That's horrible.
So.
Not quite, but
Shouldn't have gone
that's an
50-50,
amazing flop.
Any 4, any club. And that's plenty for Hancer with 2 cards to come. Burgess feels like wrong color, but right suit.
Same deal. Club or a 4 needed for Dave Hancer, or this is over.
Oh, it came!
Well done with.
It came the blank, the double blank, and Burgess
I
has
think
done
you've
it.
got me covered. We'll double check it.
Great heat, great poker playing, and Craig Burgess hung in there and
Well
got there
done,
his
Craig.
way, didn't he?
Yeah, and a great way to finish it off, Burgess. A little bit of flair at the end there with the
into that
bullets.
With the limp re-raise, very nice.
No.
Be excited to see Dave Hancer in the turbos.
Thank
It's
you.
been a pleasure tonight, but it's
What time
Burgess
did
going through.
Bit of a flop though, Dave, isn't it?
Well, yeah, got you worried, I think, with 2 clubs. So.
On the straight.
Yeah, and they know they've been in a poker game, don't they, Jesse? Amazing game.
Well, there is a time to slow play aces, Nick. This was it, I guess.
Yeah, head up, trapped him to perfection, didn't he? And impossible for Dave Hancher to get away. No blame attached to him. He's got a strong hand and starting to get a bit short on chips.
Well, that was Flop City, and every move in the book. Craig Burgess, congratulations coming through in the end there.
Thanks, Jesse.
There was a lot of game three-handed, and you seem to be content to let the others get at it.
At the three-handed stage, it was very much Dave going against Dave, and I was card dead at the time, but I was quite happy to let it carry on and sort of bide my time. And obviously, when Dave took Gregory out, I thought I had a chance against Dave. That said, I thought the guy played particularly well, and I wish him the very best of luck in the turbo.
Yeah, commiserations, Dave Hancher, but I mean, you really played a stormer. That relationship you had going with Gregory was something else.
Yeah, I was just trying to mix up my game more than anything, and I was just hitting cards at the same time on the button as well, raising. I had to show a few cards because I kept thinking I'm nicking it all the time. I wasn't, I was just playing the cards.
You're through to the turbo heat for the second time running in this sort of format.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
And Craig, straight to the semifinals. You're the first man at that semifinals table, and when you look at the rest of the draw, it's going to be saucy.
Yes, I've looked at the rest of the heats, and I might not bother turning up for the semi, but no, seriously, it's a great thrill to progress. I played in one of these before the UK Poker Open and didn't play my game at all. I was hell-bent on playing my game when I came today, and I hit aces a couple of times, and they held up. So the dealers helped me out, but I'm pleased that I played my game this time.
Well, it's only forward from here, Craig, and you're smack in the middle of that $500,000 prize pool. First man through to the semis. Who will be the next one in? Well, they're going to have to take on Ian the Razor Fraser, a former winner of this event and one of the toughest in this format here at the partypoker.net European Open 4.